Hi, my name is Kara, and I am a member of the Youth Time to Shine and Wide Tag group. We are the Monmouth County Coalition and are excited to bring to you our vaping campaign. To spread our message, we have decided to create a montage of team members explaining why we choose not to vape, hoping to inspire others to choose also not to vape. To anyone who currently vapes or knows people who vape, remind them or yourselves the benefits that come with not vaping.
Thank you, Kara. And so here we have it, vaping with teens. Get to know the facts and learn more things from them themselves. Youth Time to Shine. So first and foremost, what is vaping? So one of the questions before we dive into this that I have for our youth, who are the experts, is before you joined Youth Time to Shine, did you know this much about vaping?
I definitely knew about vaping and kind of what it was, but after joining this group, I definitely learned a more in-depth reasoning and also more of the side effects and just more details about what vaping is.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you took a lot from it. And one of the things I love is that you remember so much about it because there's a lot of information out there, and it's nice to see that all of you have the information that matters the most, that affects your health and making those good decisions. So good for you. Do you think if other youth knew about these dangerous effects, do you think that they would stop?
I think that they'll take a long time to stop because I think that they'll still be addicted to the drug.
Thank you. And you bring up another great point because you bring up nicotine, which is that addictive drug. And you're right, it's very addictive. And later on in this slide, we're going to see just how addictive nicotine is. And at some point, it gets very hard when you're addicted to a drug such as nicotine to make the decisions, even though you know the truth. So great job. And thank you for enlightening us with that. So one of the other questions I have for all of you here, we've all been impacted by COVID-19 and the pandemic, and 2020 has been quite the year to say the least. One of the things that you've all experienced is being in and out of school, whether it's being online and being virtual or being in school in person. And so I want to know, and we want to know, are you seeing kids vaping as much as they were? Are you seeing a decrease, and why?
I feel like I'm definitely seeing a decrease in the school environment because previously, before the pandemic, I feel like in the back of the classroom, kids would kind of just sneak vapes in. But now with the whole mask situation, when we're in school, I feel like it'd be harder to, slip down your mask and just try sneaking vaping.
That's a great point, and I didn't even think about that. Now you physically have this mask on. It's kind of harder to sneak it around, like you said. That's such a good point. How about anybody else? Are you seeing it? I know some of you go to different schools. You represent different towns here. Are you seeing an increase or a decrease or nothing at all?
I think a decrease because everybody's at home. So like if it is teens that are doing it, they couldn't really do it because whoever is there with them, like they can't be sneaking around. Well, it would be harder to do that because they have their parents around checking on them and everything like that.
That's another great point. Again, that's why you are the expert. You're the panelist here for a reason. And you're right, being home presents a whole different, set of issues. And I think a lot of parents and guardians are also feeling a lot of responsibility and anxiety, making sure that, you're getting online. Okay, so they're in your room, wherever you're online practicing and getting ready for school, they're checking in on you. So yeah, I'm sure that definitely presents a lot of difficulty if someone is vaping or addicted to vaping. And one of the other things I'm going to move forward here is just look at all of these different devices that someone could use to vape. And, we talked a lot about vaping tobacco, and talking about that nicotine. What about, the marijuana piece to it? Youth and people out there are using some of these devices to smoke marijuana. Have you seen that to be a common thing within your schools? Do you hear people using this and smoking marijuana a lot?
For my school, I'm not so sure. I haven't seen anything, but I don't know. I don't speak for any other schools, but my school, I don't think so.
Okay. No, and thank you for being honest. You know, you do see this in some schools. I think too, it depends on, you know, the age range. That can also change all of that. Sometimes you might not see it in an elementary school, or maybe as much in a middle school, or, you know, geographically it could be different. So thank you for bringing that up, because it might not be the same everywhere for every school. It could be a totally different issue. How about anybody else?
I go to the same school, so I would have to say the same thing as him.
Okay, and thank you for bringing that up. So you're both seeing the same thing, which that means a lot, and that's a great thing. So looking at this slide, looking at all of these devices, do you recognize any of these devices? Have you seen them before? Do you see them in school? You see people using them at all?
I haven't seen anybody in school, but I've seen outside of school.
Okay. What is the most common one you've seen before?
I honestly do not know.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. All right. So then that's a good thing if you haven't been seeing these around or actually seeing them, you know, pulling them out as much, because I know at one point they were very frequently used and, you know, kind of a little bit more out in the open than they should be. So that's good. One of the other things that this slide tells us is that when you heat some of these products up, it can release in the body nickel and tin. Do you think that kids and adults even, do you think they know that information?
I feel like older people would probably know more of the details of what they're inhaling, but I feel like sometimes they still wouldn't even care. For the younger ages, I feel like they wouldn't even know what it is. They're just doing it.
Yeah. For the older age, I would probably say that they're more cautious about this. Not all of them, but, you know, some of them would be more cautious.
They would be more cautious. Okay, well, thank you. And last question for this slide. Do you know how kids or youth hide some of these devices? Do you know where they hide them in school or where they hide them in their room?
Like I was saying earlier, they made the vape pen, so I would say that they would be hiding them in school, maybe in the lab and stuff like that.
Yeah, so with the vape pens, they seem to be slimmer, easier to hide, so even the device itself. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move over to the next slide. Okay, so over here we have the truth about the impact of vaping. So it says here that teens that start with e-cigarettes, they're more likely to start using other tobacco products like hookah, cigars, and even cigarettes. And about 99% of all e-cigarettes sold at convenience stores, supermarkets, and similar outlets contain nicotine. So this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. This slide has a lot of information. So with that being said, have you seen anybody that thought that maybe they started out vaping and they ended up with cigarettes? Do you guys know anybody like that? Have you heard about that?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. So you have seen that transition. You know, it starts out as something that may seem kind of more innocent, and then it transforms into, you know, all right, now you're at the point where you're smoking. And I know some people have debated this for a while, where they thought vaping helps people who smoke cigarettes quit. And I know that that's something that people go back and forth with, because we're seeing more evidence too now where they end up smoking cigarettes. So thank you for that. And thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. So we're going to move over to the slide here, and it talks about you are a target. Who is you? That is our youth. And, you know, we see up at the top different celebrities with different devices that they're smoking out of. Have you ever seen any ads or advertisements that was marketing vaping as if it was cool?
I've seen that as well.
Okay. Anybody else see any of the advertisements that say it's cool to vape?
I've seen a couple of advertisements, and also I feel like in TV shows and movies, they kind of have some of the characters vaping and they make it seem like it's no big deal, which kind of, you know, is targeting people who are watching those movies, which are usually teens.
That's a really good point. So you're also seeing it in the movies and the shows, right? Now everybody's like streaming online, Netflix, and Hulu, and who's doing what, right? So that's a great point too. Have you seen any of the opposite advertisements? I know we talked about this just a little bit earlier before today. Have you seen the opposite? Have you seen advertisements on social media or on TV that says don't vape? And also, do you think it's effective? Do you think it's getting the message out?
There are definitely some advertisements that are against vaping, like hashtag truth, I think it was called. And I find it effective because it opens up the harsh truth of what vaping and nicotine does to your body.
Absolutely. Thank you. You bring up another great point. You know, it comes out with the facts. So it's not necessarily useless information. It's like, whoa, hey, that's the reality. You know, I did see a commercial. I think you're right. It was a truth commercial, and it showed like the veins, and it went through the whole body and started showing how vaping can affect your lungs, and you got the whole visual of it. And it's something I'm going to remember.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to believe that's what's happening to your body when you inhale nicotine into your body. Like, kind of unbelievable.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think you mentioned at another time when we met that there's other effects that smoking and vaping can do to your body. Did you want to mention what that was about the skin, how it can affect your skin?
Yes. So when you inhale any kind of item with nicotine in it, it can actually like cause premature wrinkles. So like pretty much you're gonna look older than you actually are, which is like kind of messed up in my mind. Like, why do you want to be called 60 when you're only 40 years old?
Yeah, it's a great point. And unfortunately, for many years, we've been seeing this. You know, cigarettes and tobacco use has been around for much longer than vapes. And we do see that impact where people are affected. They do tend to age faster. Such a great point. So it affects us inside, you know, it affects our organs, it affects our brain, the chemicals in our body, as well as our outside appearance. So thank you for sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Okay, and this is just another slide here that we created, and it just tells us some more information about how youth are a target. And one of the things that I like to point out here, and I would love, you know, the panelists' feedback, the industry wants you hooked on nicotine earlier, so you will be a lifetime user. How does that make you feel as a youth that the tobacco industry wants your generation hooked just so that you'll be a consumer and you'll be buying all their products for the rest of your life? How does that make you feel?
Well, I almost feel like I'm offended in a kind of way. Like, so you just want me to ruin my body, look way older than I'm supposed to, just because you can get more money? I could die from this, and all you care is about a few bucks.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm being used. Like they're just trying to use us to get our money to make a profit. They don't care about our health. They're just doing it for the business.
I also feel like the owners of these companies. I don't think that they're even using their own chemicals and stuff like that.
Yes, I feel like they make this stuff, but they don't even use it. They're putting it out for us to use, but they know what's in it, and then they're saying that they don't want to put it in their body because they know what it could do to them, but they're still giving it out to other people. I don't feel like that is right.
I'm blown away by each one of your responses. I mean, you nailed it. And what you're saying is so powerful, and it really hits home, and it hits to my heart that, you know, the people who are creating this, they may or may not even be using this stuff. They may or may not be using this product, and they know that there's poison in there, right? There are people who are getting affected by this, whether it's disease, whether it's cancer, whether it's, you know, discomfort, whether it's popcorn lung, or, you know, the list goes on and on, right? We talked about some of those different things, and we've been talking about this stuff for years, even with smoking, and you bring up such a great point. You know, they're selling it, they're putting it out there, but hey, are they even using this? They know how bad it is. So you are doing a great job. Thank you. And we are coming close here. So one of the things that I just love to point out, you know, we talk about what happened, we talk about why it's happening, we talk about who's doing it, what are the facts, what can happen, and now my favorite part is help is out there. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. You know, RWJ Barnabas Health, you know, they have a program right here in our county, in Monmouth County. And you can go, if you look over to the left of this screen, you could see where you can go for help. You could call that toll-free number, 1-866-NJ-STOPS. You know, you could go to njquitline.org. You know, there's a lot of help out there. And if anybody needs it, you know who to contact. You can contact us, the Prevention Coalition of Monmouth County, or visit our webpage at pcofmc.org. And we would be glad to help you get the resources you need. And I wanted to ask a very important question to each of you. And I'm going to ask you after I call your name. But so Kara, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you vape, Kara?
I choose not to vape so I can have a long and healthy life.
Thank you. And Divine, why do you not partake in vaping? What makes you stop it?
Okay, so the main big reason why I don't vape is because I would consider myself an athlete. My main sport is cross country, and that requires a whole bunch of energy. And if I began to vape or do anything with nicotine, my lungs would just be complete trash, and running wouldn't be a fun sport for me anymore, and it'd be kind of just pointless to do any kind of sport with broken lungs.
Thank you. Thank you, Divine, for sharing that. And thank you, Kara. You bring up two very good reasons as to why you don't vape. And you're right. I mean, you're an athlete. It takes such a toll on you, physically and mentally, right? And you're dedicated to protecting your temple and, you know, doing what's best for you. So I commend the both of you for making that choice. I appreciate that. Amir, why don't you vape?
The reason why I'm against vaping is because I'm someone who is both an introvert but also an extrovert. With that being said, I can see all the effects it has on people who do vape. By paying close attention, I noticed the differences in their attitude and the way people tend to carry themselves. Just by inhaling aerosol, which is not just water vapor, does not make you look cooler or popular. There are dangerous chemicals contained in vapes. Some of these chemicals are also found in cigarettes, including chromium, formaldehyde, lead, and nickel. With the jewel pods and other vapes having high levels of nicotine, it can affect brain function and impact attention span and memory. I'm also an athlete, so I'd rather not damage my lungs, trying to be down with the crew and win some championships, LOL.
I love that, Amir. Thank you. You just that was a home run. I know you're an athlete. I'm not sure if you're playing baseball, but today you are. You knocked it out of the park. I thought you brought up a great point. You talk about self-esteem. I mean, that was loud and clear. You said, you know, you don't need to do it to be cool. You don't need to do it just to do it. You can make a choice to do what you really want to do, which is not take on something like that, because you have so much to give and so much to live for. So thank you for sharing that. Great job.
No problem.
Yeah, and Dante, why don't you vape?
I don't vape because it's harmful for your body and it messes with your whole body, so you won't be able to do certain things that other people may be able to do because they aren't vaping.
Absolutely. Great job, Dante. It does. It affects your body, and you never know how that's going to affect you. How it plays out in your body could be very different than how it plays out in someone else's body. And we know that it can affect us no matter how young or how old that we are. So great point, and thank you. And last but not least, we have Mario. So Mario, how come you don't vape?
I don't vape because honestly, I don't think that it's worth it. You could get, your immune system will go down, all these things that will harm your body, and at the same time, your mental also, because you could get anxiety, you could start stealing from your family and people like that. And I don't think it's only me. I want to live a long life.
Thank you, Mario. Another great point. Way to end it off here with why we don't vape here at Youth Time to Shine. You're saying it loud and clear. You want to live, you have a lot to live for, and you don't want it to affect you in a negative way. And I just want to thank the Youth Time to Shine panelists here, the experts themselves. You did a wonderful job today, and we appreciate you.